Hey everybody, I'm Don Hinkle. Tonight on Shelter Life, we're going to speak to an incredible organization called Underdog Railroad. If you haven't heard about it, you're going to hear a lot about it tonight. So sit back and relax. I'm Don Hinkle. This is Shelter Life. Hey everybody, tonight on Shelter Life, we're going to be talking to Underground Dog Railroad. And we have sitting right next to me, Cara, Gary, and our special friend, Benny. Oh, and you even turned for me. Thank you. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
very much.
So, a lot of people probably aren't familiar with Underdog Railroad. So, let's just give a little bit of history about how it came to be. Obviously, you love animals. And just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I started volunteering at Front Street about 5 years ago and started doing kennel cleaning. It's my favorite thing ever. And then I started doing, yes, totally scooping every Monday. And then I got the Kennel Queen or the Kennel Poop Scooper Award or something like that. Yeah. Very proud moment. And then I started doing the dog handling classes, and I started fostering for the shelter, and I was doing German Shepherd fostering at that point, and so I got into fostering for some German Shepherd rescues, which is how we came across Benny. And then I realized that I could connect dogs in shelters to rescues that were not necessarily in our area.
Okay.
So then I started driving dogs around, and then we randomly rented a van one day and drove to Elko, Nevada, and met a receiving shelter from Idaho, and that was pretty much it.
And that's how it all started.
That's how it all started.
And how long have you been doing this now?
We started in March of 2017 officially.
So Gary, what about this? How do you like it?
What about? Well, I'm her support mechanism on this, and there's a lot more to it than what she said, because Cara's extremely active. I mean, her heart, like yours, is way out there for the dogs. And before she's able to even identify dogs that other shelters will take, she'll go in and spend hours upon hours evaluating the dogs, like half hour, 45 minutes to an hour evaluating a dog, making sure that the dog has a really good personality and no major behavior issues and so forth. So to go on a trip, I mean, I don't even see her at night. She's on the computer all night long, and just lots of time that she's totally involved. So my involvement is just to continually support her, as well as to go on the fun drives, though, which is really good. And I'm a really great crate person guy. I can really secure those dogs down really well.
Well, we've got some pictures we're going to show a little bit later, but there's a couple that, one is at the doorbell. I think there's 3 dogs right at your head or something as you're driving a car. But we'll show this in a bit. But so, Underdog Railroad, how'd you come up with that name?
It started kind of as we were sneaking dogs north.
Okay.
Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, taking a little bit of a spin on Harriet Tubman's Underground Railroad, and in a serious way, saving lives as well.
Mm-hmm. So the dogs that you take from shelters or rescues, and you're taking them up to these other, you're taking them to shelters that need dogs in Washington, like in Oregon, or are you taking them to rescues?
Yes, both.
Okay, both.
All of that. We have receiving shelters, we have receiving adopters directly, and receiving rescues as well.
So I'm familiar with the organization Wings of Rescue, where they would fly a whole bunch of animals like to Washington, Idaho, to shelters that didn't have it, especially like small animals. Small ones are really popular, I know that. Is this something along the lines of that you're doing, but
yes.
in maybe not in the airplane mode, transportation, right?
Correct. I would be super excited if somebody just decided to give me an airplane.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice, right? Wouldn't that be nice? But when we first found out about that, I was really kind of moved, because I had no idea that there was a need in these other states for certain types of dogs.
Yeah.
it blew my mind because you just kind of assume that
Everybody's like
every
us.
shelter has the same types of dogs, and they all come in and out, and they come and go. And when I found out that wasn't the case, I was really blown away. So automatically, when I was finding out what you guys were doing, it was just like, you guys are angels. I mean, you know, you're doing what all of us initially want to do, and that is to save more lives, right? And we know we can't save them all. It's reality, but
Right.
the more we save, the better it is for everybody involved.
Yes.
And look at him. He is just, Benny is knocked out.
He's
so
having a hard
sweet.
time tonight.
Okay, so since we're talking about Benny real
Mm-hmm.
quickly, a little history.
So Benny came from a shelter, not Front Street, and we fostered him for a German Shepherd rescue. And he's not actually a German Shepherd, he is a Husky Lab mix.
Right.
But we foster failed with him. He was a little timid with people when we first got him, and our other personal dog, Lucy, was super, super clingy with people, but timid with dogs, so they kind of gave each other confidence.
That's great.
Yeah,
And by the way, foster failing is fine.
it is.
I am one as well.
Yes.
So I understand that.
Failing is
immensely.
not always bad.
Yeah. So how do you do rescues or other shelters contact you, or are you, as Gary said, on the computer at night looking for the ones that you think you might be able to take out and get into a better place?
At this point, I'm kind of in personal referral. I'm like, hey, I'm going to this area. Do you know anybody who might be able to take some dogs? If you don't, that's fine, but it never hurts to ask.
Right.
The worst they can do is say no, and I hear it all the time. It's okay. Lots of people don't respond to me, and I'm like, it's okay, just tell me no.
Right. Well, you'd rather hear something than nothing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You two don't do this alone, right? You guys have
No.
volunteers that help you.
We have some volunteers.
Yeah. Some.
We
Sure we
do.
do.
We
Yes.
do. My dad has gone on several trips with me. Bill has gone on several trips with me. He volunteers with a different German Shepherd rescue. We've had Linda Oliver has gone with me. Who else has gone? I had Mary went on one trip. Who else has gone?
You're great with
That's
names.
it.
I am
I
not.
know.
Well, the fact is it takes more than just two of you to get
Yeah.
it done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in your ideal world, right? No boundaries, sky's the limit. What would you like to see Underdog Railroad be?
Well, I mean, if sky's the limit, let's just say everybody spay neuter their pets, so we don't have to do this. But we would really like to have a bus as a transport. Like, just think one of a limo bus, like a party bus for dogs. So we all go on a road trip together, and everybody goes to rescue.
So you've been able to use other shelters like vans for transport, which I think is great.
Yes, the Stockton shelter has been very generous to us.
Yeah, and I think it's wonderful that they're willing to see what you guys do as something very beneficial and worthwhile,
Yeah.
and invest that way. What other people have actually helped you out quite a bit? Individuals or organizations? for
Our
that matter?
volunteers have helped us quite a bit. One of our receiving shelters in Idaho has been a godsend.
Something about Idaho, because
There
they take a lot of animals.
They do.
They really do.
And they're not all easy. With one of the shelters, I've called it the Fluffies for Fractures because they've had a grant for fractures. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to send you a broken German Shepherd, but you're going to get 3 little fluffy dogs.
Got it.
And then they're happy.
Got it. That's too funny. But that's a good idea, though. That
Yes.
way we're getting more of them out there. So when you're transporting, one of the things we talked about as we were corresponding was a bloopers reel, which I'm going to have to do at some point in time. But you're telling me about some of the things you guys encounter when you're going from point A to point B.
Yes.
So there's probably not a normal scenario when you're transporting. Everyone's probably unique.
Yes.
But tell us about maybe, let's hear more about the funny ones first. What's happened when you've been transporting?
Well, our first crate breakout, because Huskies like to break out of crates. What was his name? Fagin. He was a white Husky, just a gorgeous little guy. And he comes crawling across the top of the crates. And you look in the rearview mirror and there's not supposed to be anything there but crates, but then there's this dog looking at you. Well, I already had a dog on my lap. I'm like, okay, this is great. So we stop, we get everybody secured, and we have to fix the crate. I can't have 2 dogs on my lap that don't know each other.
Right.
This is not gonna work. So we are doing crate side road repair with a corkscrew and zip ties.
Oh my gosh.
It was amazing.
Too funny.
And zip ties are our friend.
I bet they are.
Oh, definitely. They do a fine job.
So you get your, okay, so crates, blankets, food. How does that come to you?
Well, we don't feed on transport because I don't want anybody to get car sick.
Got it.
We have little crate water dishes that I put water in, and we put them in the freezer so that when we're loading, they don't tip over and get everybody all wet. Those come through Amazon. Gary gets all excited sometimes when I get boxes. I'll get like 2 or 3 boxes, like big boxes. And he's like, "Oh, what'd you get me?" I open it up and it's in like kennel disinfectant and like 75 crate water bowls. Sorry, honey.
Then you get a lot of towels, because
Yeah.
we'd rather put the towels because
Yeah, they eat piddle pads.
they eat
Right.
piddle pads. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's silica gel in there. That's not good for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my little puppy likes to do that too sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the crates that you use, do you get those from the shelters?
Sometimes we do
Yeah.
if we load at a shelter. But if I'm loading dogs that we have put in foster for a few days, then I'm typically using my crates, and I just have put up on next door, "Hey, if anybody has a crate sitting in their garage and wants to get rid of it, I'll come get it."
And how's the response been?
It's been amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
I think the power of social media in many different forms can be extremely positive for the most part.
It can.
And the one thing that is unique is that most people do have a special place in their heart for animals. And those that don't, I don't really associate with. But most people have
Yeah.
a very special place in their heart for animals. So when they see a need or hear of a need, they usually step up to the plate or do it as best as they can for what resources they have, right?
Yeah.
So I know you've got some numbers that you were going to share with me. So tell us some of the numbers of your successes that you've been doing.
Well, 2017 we started, like I said, in March, and we transported 428 animals.
Wow.
Those were mostly dogs. We do take cats on occasion. We did have 1 rabbit,
Yes.
and I was terrified that he was going to die. But he did not. He did just fine. He got adopted. The rescue that took him said he was the nicest bun that they had ever had.
Did we not have a pig?
We did have a pig.
Yes.
also.
They had a pig?
Yeah.
Full pig or like a little pot belly pig?
Little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We did 13 long distance transports in 2017, and we pulled 87 dogs from Front Street.
That's great.
Yeah, 2018, we got a little bit crazy. We did 30 long transports, long distance transports.
What's a long distance transport?
So long distance would be like Idaho
Okay,
or Utah.
so more than 100 miles.
Yes.
Okay.
We do leg transport sometimes, smaller numbers of animals. So I'll drive to Reno, somebody else drives Reno to Winnemucca, somebody will drive Winnemucca to Elko, and kind of leapfrog or pass the torch.
So when you guys are going to the shelters or the rescues to pick up the dogs to transport, how are you? Are they all up to date with their vaccinations, and is everything good to go, and
Yeah.
medical records to go with them as well?
The shelters do, Front Street does all of the health certificates, they do all the vaccines. Stockton does as well. Some of the smaller shelters that we're helping, Turlock, Manteca, Yuba County, those are dogs that I need to put into foster a few days ahead of time so we can get them to the vet and get all of their vaccines updated and their health certificates as well.
Okay. So I want to show some of these pictures because we always run out of time on these shows, always. But I want to show some of these pictures. So if we can get the pictures up on the monitor so we can see them, and then briefly as they go through them, just explain a little bit about what it is. And you guys are going to be able to see it right up on that monitor right there. There we go.
Yeah, well, that is my dad who is graciously washing crates for me. He does a great job.
He does a great
He's
job.
very thorough.
And we have about 40 crates
We do.
at home.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's us leaving for a transport going somewhere.
And I got to put in, I just love the shirts. The purple is, the color
Yes,
there.
it is
But
very good color on
yeah.
us. Yep, we like to stop and take van selfies sometimes as well. That is,
So was that on the way to Reno?
that probably is on the way back. From Utah.
Okay.
Yeah, because when we go, the only time we stop is for like gas.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then we just keep going.
And I think that this one is hilarious.
I love this.
Chihuahuas, yeah.
Because when I saw that, I said we have to show this one.
That's in Winnemucca.
Yeah, Winnemucca.
Really?
We've never actually stopped there. That was at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, how funny. Love that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
A little fun.
Yes.
And
Those are our personal dogs. That's Benny there on the right, Lucy's in the middle, and Walter, who left us last year, is on the left there.
Yeah.
what a cute picture, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my good friend Jacqueline, who's helped me do hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of evaluations at this point. There's one of our fosters helping.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yes, that's Heidi, and Stella is the dog in that picture. She ended up in Colorado. She spent the night with us at that hotel in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
There's a Malinois that I asked her if she was ready to go, and she picked up her dog bowl like, yep.
Really?
Yeah.
How cute.
Yes, that's our forever foster, Jaja there. She was having laser treatment on her ear.
And so the goggles were to protect your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay.
Yes. So we have these little fans that we use in addition to the air conditioning that is in the transport vans as well, just to help with air circulation.
Yeah.
And that van was full.
Yep. And that's my car. That one on the right, on the top there, does not have a dog in it.
Okay.
But yes, if
And
This one I really
yes,
love.
this dog actually tagged himself for transport. I got the manifest from the shelter the night before, and he was on it.
Wow.
That's my good friend Kathy, who does a lot of transport for us, and my veterinarian, Dr. Malik. They've done a lot of health certificates for us. There is Linda, and that little basset hound cattle dog that broke out of his crate.
Really?
Yes.
On the way?
Yeah, and then he
Wow.
pooped on my seat. And
Love
this
that
guy was telling me he wanted to move to Oregon, so he did.
oh,
He said, it's too hot here.
Oh.
Yes.
cutie.
Yes. Thea was pulled just about 6 weeks ago from the Stockton shelter. She had some pretty severe mange going on. She looks much, much, much better now.
I think good old logo.
And that's us.
Love
that's
that logo.
that's Benny up front.
Love that logo. Absolutely love
Benny.
that logo.
Yeah.
You know, on these trips that we take, well, Cara takes them all, I take some of them. But, you know, 4 in the morning, she'll wake up, you know, and then she'll leave and she'll be, let's say, down in Stockton by 5:45, 6 in the morning. So then they load up and, okay, you should be back to our house by, 7, and here goes 7:30. And then she finally comes in, drives in, and then off, and then, sometimes off we go, and it'll be like a 10, 11-hour drive. Now, the thing about it is that, the dogs, bark, 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 they quiet down within the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Cara has a little lavender spray, and
Yeah.
then, like I said, the only time we stop is just for gas, but the dogs are great. They
Really?
they just settle in and pretty much most of the time sleep, it seems like, but they're really, really good.
Well, I think a lot of the times because it's so noisy in the shelters that this is really the first opportunity that they've had
Relaxing.
in a little bit to just
Right.
calm down.
Well, you've heard other people say if you get a dog out of that shelter environment, their true personality comes out.
Yes.
And the dogs blossom into something that most people don't realize are there.
Yeah.
So tough times, right? Because it's not all sugar and candy,
No.
right? So what things have happened as you've been doing this that have really tugged at your heart?
Well, we've had some special dogs and some special fosters. We did have, we had a foster die last year. She came, somebody found her, got a hold of me, and for whatever pull on your heartstrings reason, I picked her up.
Yeah.
Probably a 3-month-old little black shepherd, and she was having seizures. And I figured, okay, they gave her a dose of flea medication and they gave her a flea bath. I'm like, okay, they just OD'd her on the flea meds. But then she kept having him. So we lost her.
Well, I think, but the fact is it's you guys. You took them in, and you gave them the love, and you gave them the care.
Yep.
And as we know, we can't save them all.
Yep.
Right. But
we can do what we can do.
I look at it this way, and I've had, for some reason this year, I've had a lot of friends who have lost their pets, and it breaks my heart. And I tell them, I said, if you've given them all the love you can give them the best home you can for that time frame, you can't do any more.
Yep.
You know, and it's sometimes it's easier said than done, but I've been through it, so I can understand that. So, didn't mean to bring up something sad. Sorry about that. I really didn't. But I think people need to understand that there is a human side of it that, you know, really does tug at people's soul, because it's not always fun times, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that when you can relish and be happy with the successes of all these animals that you have transported to these new places who now have loving, great homes.
Yes.
I mean, that really is what it's all about.
Yep.
It truly is.
Yeah.
So before I forget, how could people reach out to you? Do you have a website? Do you have Facebook? How could people reach out to you if they want to maybe volunteer or become involved or help out with something?
Yes. So we do have a website. It's underdograilroadtransport.org. We are a nonprofit, and on Facebook we are Underdog Railroad Transport as well.
Great.
And Instagram, but I'm not very good at Instagram.
I haven't quite got the Instagram thing myself.
I get it. I just forget about it.
I think I talk too much to do 45 characters. I think that's my problem. I wouldn't be able to do it. So, Benny.
Yes.
Is
shedding.
It's that time of year. It's summer, right?
Yeah.
He was the aggressive dog.
Yes, he
Was
was.
he really?
He was just deemed aggressive. He was on the youth list. Oops, sorry.
Oh no,
A little fluff.
it's okay.
Some
It's
sparkles.
okay. It's okay. I had a German Shepherd. I understand the shedding aspect. Yeah.
Yes, German Shedder.
Yeah. Well, that's cute. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So, if you were to tell people, because I'm sure you have to go out and do your own marketing, right?
Yeah.
What is your what I call elevator pitch? When like you're riding somebody in an elevator from the bottom floor to the 10th floor, and you got basically 2.5 minutes. What do you tell people about Underdog Railroad?
We're a nonprofit transport. We take dogs from shelters. We do take a limited number of owner surrenders, and we transport them to rescues or receiving shelters where they'll be cared for and adopted. In a nutshell, that's what we do.
In a nutshell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. And please take our job away due to the fact that if you are interested in a breed, please do the research so you really understand the kind of dog that you're thinking about getting and get the right
That's
one.
a very valid point, because a lot of people don't realize the work entailed in some of the breeds.
Yeah.
Correct. Right.
People love Jack Russell Terriers because they saw it on Frasier, right?
Right.
Well, Jack Russell Terriers have so much friggin' energy. You better have a lot of energy to keep up with a Jack Russell Terrier.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's something that's kind of missed, and maybe as animal community and animal advocates, that could be something that could be stressed a little bit more, because I think there's nothing more heartbreaking. I know I experienced this when I was volunteering at Front Street, is when somebody adopts a dog because they think it's the cutest thing in the world, and they bring it back 2 days later, and they just said, well, this dog was just hyper. It wasn't. It wouldn't. And it's like, well, first off, did you even let it acclimate to your house? And this dog does have energy.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a lap dog, you probably don't want a Jack Russell Terrier.
Yeah, he's not always like this.
Yeah.
Well, right, because like you said, if it's Frasier or for the movie and there's a hot dog, and that's what they want, and really there hasn't been any really strong education about what it means to have a dog and what the work is and what it all takes.
It's amazing that you guys can do this, so giving of your hearts, and kudos to you.
Well, thank you.
I'm glad that you're doing it. I wish there were more organizations to do it, but I think, Cara, you summed it up best. We don't want to have to do this, and if people would just spay and neuter their animals, a lot of this wouldn't have to happen.
Yeah,
which is really, really true.
I would love that.
So we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to go fast. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, I mean our overall transport numbers at this point, we've transported 1,714 animals at an average cost of $15.66 per nose.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Gary, Cara, Benny,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on the show. I really, really appreciate it. Everybody, check them out, Underdog Railroad on Facebook. You can message them, find out more about the organization. Maybe you can donate some of your time and help them out. Until next time, everybody, I'm Don Hinkle, and this is Shelter Life.
Hi, my name is Gina Knepp, and I manage the Front Street Animal Shelter for the City of Sacramento. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Shelter Life. As you've seen, our staff and volunteers work incredibly hard to make a difference for the animals in our community. We focus continuously on seeking new and creative ways to save lives. We know that with the support of people just like you, we can make Sacramento a safe haven for the animals that end up in our shelter. We also strive to be innovative, looking for ways to keep pets out of the shelter to begin with. Working together with that mission in mind, great things are possible. Thank you for joining us on this journey.